This is my 26th week pregnancy update. So I'm going to get started. Let's see, today is Saturday, which means I'm 26 weeks. And this Wednesday, I went into work and all of a sudden my left hand went completely numb. Then it started to travel up my whole left arm. So my whole left arm and hand were completely numb. I went to tell my coworker that just something wasn't right, and when I went to tell her, I realized that my lips and my tongue were also completely numb, and I felt like I had like Novocaine shots all through my mouth. So of course then I went into like panic mode because I knew this was not right. So we waited a few minutes, and I picked up the phone and I called my doctor, and my doctor said that I needed to either try to come in, but there was no doctor on call, so she recommended that I went straight to the emergency room. So I went straight to the emergency room, had to wait a little bit. They did an EKG on me, and then I waited some more. Then they admitted me into a room. Well, it wasn't even a room. They didn't even have a room. I had to wait in a hallway, and it's funny because we were joking about that was my room, and everybody was in my room because they were walking by my room, my hallway. So my arm and my lips and my tongue, the numbness started to subside probably after an hour of being at the emergency room. So I was like, okay, maybe this is, but my left hand was still so numb. Like, it felt like it wasn't even there. So they tried to do some more tests. And they tried to do an MRI, which I thought I would be fine. But I'm claustrophobic, and the MRI that they tried to do is not an open MRI. And I only lasted 5 minutes before I went into panic freak out mode, and I completely got hot and sweaty, and I had trouble breathing, so they had to hurry up and take me out of that. So, and they had me, they kept checking my baby's heartbeat, Annabella's heartbeat, and she was doing fine. So they weren't concerned really with her, they were concerned more about me, because if something was really wrong with me, then it could affect her. So the doctor came out and was like, I don't feel comfortable just giving you some medicine to help me make it through an MRI so I could relax and everything. So we're like, okay, fine. He's like, you need to go to this other hospital, which is the hospital that I will deliver at. It's our women's hospital. Because with their policy, if you're pregnant, over 22 weeks, you have to, whenever you leave the emergency room there, you have to go get checked out there to be discharged, kind of thing. So I was like, fine, we'll go there. And unfortunately, they don't allow you just to, it's like right down the road, literally, it's on the same street, but they won't allow you to drive yourself. So I had to be transferred by an ambulance, which was just adds more scariness to it all. My blood pressure was really high because I was freaking out, not knowing if everything was going to be okay. So when I got there to that hospital, they hooked me up to some machines to monitor to make sure that I wasn't having any contractions, and also to monitor Annabella's heart rate. And she was doing perfect. But again, my hand was so numb, and they were worried, and the doctor came in and said she ran through all my tests, and there was a possibility that I may have had a slight stroke. So she did not feel comfortable just letting me go home. And she wanted to send me to another hospital, which is about an hour away, that has a high-risk doctor and a neurologist for high-risk pregnancies. So, of course, like I said, policies, you're not allowed to just drive yourself to the hospital. So I had to be transported again by ambulance, which was sad because my husband, they don't allow your husband or anybody to ride with you. So my husband had to drive separately. So I had to ride the whole way there, being hooked up still to machines as we traveled there. So I got to that hospital about 11 o'clock at night, and I had still not had dinner. And I was starving, and they did not want to feed me because they weren't sure if the neurologist was going to say I had to have some more testing done that right then and there, and they didn't want me to have any food. So I laid there, hooked up to more machines to monitor her, and I remember about maybe 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they came in and they said that I could eat something. So they brought me food, and that was my dinner. At 2:30 in the morning, I had my dinner, but I was so hungry. So I ate my dinner, and then I went back to sleep. Then they came back in about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, okay, we are going to do another MRI, and because I didn't do well at the other hospital with the MRI, they decided that they were going to give me some medicine for it. Well, in order to have that medicine, they had to set up an IV in my wrist, so I had to have an IV done, which I'm not a fan of needles, as I've said before, and that hurt so bad. I mean, my arm is still sore from the IV. So they put the IV in, and then I waited, and probably about an hour later, they came back and got me, and they're like, okay, we're going to take you for the MRI. And by the way, we were in like a tiny, tiny room, and my poor husband slept on 2 chairs, which they were like office chairs, like a waiting room chair kind of thing. There was 2 of them, and I felt so bad for him. So I go and I get the MRI. They gave me the medicine. I felt completely fine because the medicine helped me relax, calm down. My MRI took about 25 minutes, and it's probably the quickest 25 minutes ever, only because of the fact that the medicine, which was safe. I don't remember the name of it, but it's some kind of like anxiety medicine, but it was safe and everything, of course. And so then I come back to the room, relax a little bit, went back to sleep, because of course the medicine makes you tired, and they came in and said, okay, well, we're moving you to another room. So we moved to another room because they told me, the neurologist said they wanted to keep me for under monitoring for 24 hours from that point right then. So they were moving us to a bigger room, and my husband was excited because there was an actual bed in there for him to lay down on. So we kind of relaxed, and I laid down. Annabella was still doing fine, and my hand was still numb. I went to sleep, and I woke up around 10 o'clock, and the numbness in my hand was completely gone. I felt fine. And the neurologist came in, and I told him that my hand felt fine. The numbness was gone. And he said that was great, that my MRI came back okay. But he still wanted to run a few more tests. So again, I went off for more tests. I had a sonogram of my heart. I can't even name all the tests that they ended up doing. Like I said, they would wake me up and take me because I was so exhausted from the whole shenanigans. But then yesterday morning, they woke me up. and took me. They said they wanted to do a sonogram to make sure, everything was okay with her. Other than, because her heartbeat had been fine. They just wanted to double check. So I went and had another sonogram, and I got to see her. They said she was measuring perfectly. There is no concerns whatsoever about her. She was great. She weighed in at 1 pound 11 ounces. And I got a cute picture of like her feet. They're so cute, and they said her legs measured really long, so she's gonna be really tall, they think, which is great because I'm only 5'3", but my husband's 6'1", so I really hope that she gets somewhere in between, not as short as me. So when I got back to the room after my sonogram, the neurologist came back in and said that after all the tests, that he couldn't find anything, and the only thing that they could say that I experienced was an aggravated migraine, which I've had migraines before, and I've never experienced any of those type of symptoms for a migraine. But they also say that when you're pregnant, your estrogen level is extremely high, and which results in weird symptoms that you get with a migraine, and that was just one of the symptoms I experienced. And they said there's a possibility I may experience that again if I get another migraine like that, but I only should be alarmed if the numbness comes all at once, not if it travels, like how it started in my hand and went to my arm, and so, because then that would be for sure that I had a stroke. So they told me I was going to be discharged, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and it seemed like nobody knew anything about me being discharged. Finally, at like 7:30 at night, I got discharged. And I was so excited, and I was so relieved. I was so relieved to get the IV out of me. It was killing me. It never got to a point where I did not feel it, and could forget about it, because it was just so painful to me. So that is what happened to me this week. I am so relieved I did not have a stroke. I'm scared the fact that it could happen again, because it is a scary thing. I'm so glad that Annabella was fine. So yeah, that's what I've experienced this week. As far as symptoms and everything, that's my main concern. I do not have a belly picture right now. My husband's at work. When he gets home, I need him to take my updated picture, so I may have him do that tomorrow. So I may not put it in. I may put that in my next video, my next pregnancy update. So yeah, that's what happened with me. It's very scary. So I guess if any of you ever that have had kids or been pregnant and everything, tell me if you've ever experienced something like that, because it was very new to me, and I still can't believe that that's something that would happen just from a migraine. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.